Throughout the years, I've been through multiple different pairs of wireless earbuds, and I've used a lot of really cheap wireless earbuds that you can get on the market, a couple over the neck wireless earbuds. But over the past couple of years, the pairs that I've been picking up actually come from Skullcandy. And initially, I purchased the Skullcandy dimes for a trip to the States that I was taking. And then a couple of years later, after I had lost those, I purchased their newer version, the Dime 2s, and I had both very positive experiences with those earbuds. However, in recent times while I was shopping, I noticed that Skullcandy has released a new line called Smokin Buds, and they were on sale for about $20 Canadian, so I figured, you know what? These Dime 2s that I have are starting to show their age. I'm having some minor issues with them. I'm going to take the leap and try another inexpensive pair of these Skullcandy earbuds. And in this video, I'm going to go over what I think of them and if they're worth investing in and purchasing for yourself. So let's take a look. So to start out of the box, this is pretty standard affair for a pair of wireless earbuds and pretty much the same as what you got from the Dime series from Skullcandy. You end up with a couple different fittings for the earbuds, as well as a charging wire in the case that houses and helps charge the actual earbuds themselves with the earbuds inside when you pull it out of this box. Now, one thing I do want to highlight that is a bit of a change from these Smokin Buds versus the Dime 2s that I was using up until recently is that this actually uses a USB-C as opposed to micro USB, which to me is a welcome change because I'm starting to run out of the micro USB wires, and if I lose one or can't find the one that came with my Dime 2, I feel like I was pretty much helpless in trying to get it charged. So having an actual USB-C charging area for this to me is a welcome upgrade. Now, from the marketing that I've seen from Skullcandy, as well as looking up online, it was advertised that these should last about 8 hours on a full charge. Now, I'll be forward, I've never used the Dime 2s, 1s, or even these earbuds for more than a couple of hours at a time. And one of the issues I was having with the Dime 2 is it seemed to be losing a charge and having issues holding a charge. However, with these Smokin Buds, they appear to be working very well for the 2 hours or so that I've been using them. I have no complaints about the battery life, and for some reason they always indicate green, which suggests to me they don't really need to charge after I'm done using them. So I'm going to wager that these are going to have the advertised battery life based off of my limited window of use that I'd ever use wireless earbuds, as well as what other people have been saying online, like on Reddit posts and that sort of thing. So I believe that the battery power is quite acceptable and quite reasonable, and so far I've had nothing but good experiences in being able to connect it. Now, connecting it is pretty straightforward like you have with any other wireless pair of earbuds. I didn't really have any difficulties. This paired to my iPhone pretty easily, which was great. Now, one thing I do want to highlight that's a bit of a difference from previous wireless earbuds that I've owned is there's no actual physical button that you press in to change any of the settings. This has touch-based buttons on it. So in other words, you just touch the side of the earbuds and settings change. Now, one of the things that they advertise with these earbuds are multiple different listening modes. And to get those listening modes, you press the side of your, or tap the side of your earbud 3 times, and what ends up happening is it changes into a different audio mode. So what you have is basically your music mode, your podcast mode, and your movie mode. Now, for the purpose of testing, I did try these different features, and really the biggest thing you'll notice is that for podcast mode, for example, it sounds like the vocals are heightened and bass is dulled out. And of course, for music mode, you kind of get the most bass heavy approach, as well as basically the most rich sounding audio. And then movie mode kind of basically seems to try to be a balance between both of those settings from my limited use of it. Now, I myself will only really ever be using these earbuds for listening to music in the gym while I'm working out or while I'm training in boxing. And so I don't really have much of a desire to use this beyond the podcast or movie mode. However, I can report that it works. And if that's something that for you, you want to use these on a long trip for those reasons, I do think that there is some value there. For me, though, I wouldn't say I'm the target audience for those two equalizer settings. Now, one thing I do want to highlight, though, that I kind of disliked about these was on the Dime 2s, you would hold down for, I think it was about like 5 seconds, and you could change the songs. And that was actually a feature that I used quite frequently on those earbuds. No such feature exists with the Smokin Buds, which to me is kind of a shame. I find it a little annoying, especially if I'm training boxing, that I have to go walk over to my phone and change the songs manually, whereas before I was able to just kind of hold the button down for 5 seconds to change the song. That to me is kind of an annoying feature of these, and or I guess you could say a lacking feature. And overall, even the 3-tap method to change the equalizer and everything doesn't always feel like it works as well as it should. And in my opinion, probably the biggest weakness of these earbuds is the touch control. Now, if you do just tap it once, you can pause your music, which is fine, but for me, that's kind of just a minor thing or a general thing that I would expect out of any pair of earbuds anyways. Now, getting into the actual sound quality, I thought that these sounded pretty good. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I own 1,000 different high-end pair earbuds to compare this to, but for my general usage, these sound quite good. The music sounds quite crisp. I didn't feel like on some even cheaper or lower-end wireless earbuds that I've used that the bass was too overpowering, or even worse, it sounded tinny. So for the most part, I like the sound quality, and part of the reason I've came back to Skullcandy for a third time at this junction is that for the price point, you get reasonable sound quality and overall a good balance of sound in terms of what they output. And I would say the Smokin Buds do just as good of a job as the Dime 2s. Now, would I say they're better? Probably not. But I would say they're on par. They sound about the same in terms of my testing and comparing the two when I was using them in the gym. Now, one thing I do want to highlight that I really do like about the Smokin Buds, and this might just be the way my ears are shaped or something, is I found that these earbuds felt comfortable in my ear, but more importantly, they stayed in my ear. Part of the downside to the Dime series earbuds that I had was oftentimes if I got a bit too sweaty while working out and I was moving too much, like in training and boxing, I would find that sometimes they would fall out of my ear, no matter what different fitting I tried on, and that seemed to be quite frustrating, to be transparent, and it was something that was a bit of a detracting point from those earbuds. And throughout even using them as well, I found that with the Dime 2s, I could get them to stay in a bit better if I used a larger fitting, but then you end up exchanging that for the comfort of your ear canal, and it ends up getting sore, and then it just makes them not an enjoyable experience generally. And so oftentimes I found myself picking and choosing when I would use my Dime 2s in the gym for that reason. Now with the Smokin Buds, the thing that's most appealing to me is that I haven't had that issue. They seem to fit actually very well, and I haven't had the issue even in high intensity workouts that they've fallen out of my ear, or I feel like they're slipping out of my ear. And so far, even when I'm using the skipping rope in the gym, they're not coming out or coming loose, which to me is a welcome change and something that I actually really appreciate about these earbuds, because they seem properly fitted for my use. Now again, I understand everybody's different and some people might have a different experience based off of their own anatomy, but for me, they seem to work really well, and as a result, I most certainly will continue using these for excessive gym use just for that reason alone. So overall, these earbuds, in my opinion, for the $20 that you get, I think you get good quality sound. I think you get a good battery life. I think you get a good design in terms of how they fit, minus the fact that they have some weird sound controls as well as controls in general. I think these are a good purchase, especially at the $20 or so price point that they're retailing for in Canada at the moment. Now, as I understand, that's a sale price, but even at $30, I would argue that these are quite reasonable for what they are, and I think Skullcandy has done a good job of offering a good value to a more budget conscious consumer like myself when it comes to things like wireless earbuds.